Hey guys, Happy New Year. I hope you are all doing well. I do apologize, I haven't posted a video in quite a long time, and I have removed a lot of my older videos. I have stated in the last video, or two, if I remember correctly, that I will be reposting reviews on all my knives, just because I have some updated feelings about some of them, and I'm going to follow kind of a better set script, if I say so myself. Don't know the proper word for it, but basically a script that I have in my head on how I want my reviews to go. So, the knife in front of you, you see, is the Canku C16935. This is stated to be a tactical hunting fixed blade D2 Karambit with sheath on Amazon. It is $30. That is $29.99, so 30 bucks. And it is still 30 bucks. I just checked at this point of making this video, as it was back in August in 2019 when I purchased the knife. So the knife has not fluctuated in price. It is still 30 bucks. So the question, one of the questions we will answer is this knife worth the money you pay? Second, my personal opinion. My personal opinion is the key words there. My personal opinion on this knife. Second question. Sorry. Third question. That was the second question. Third question. Is this knife comfortable to carry for a fixed blade? And is it a properly proportionate fixed blade karambit? Because when it comes to karambits, especially fixed blades, I am very picky. I like my karambits to follow a very certain fit and form factor. Give me a second. Cat. Thank you. Okay. I had to go grab another knife that I want to compare it to. It is another fixed blade karambit that I'm going to repost a review on shortly after this one. So, let's take a look at the sheath first and see what you're getting. So with this, it is a Kydex sheath. Genuine Kydex. You can tell by the look, you can tell by the feel, but sadly there is no feel-o-vision in camera, so you guys can't know until you pay 30 bucks and buy it yourself. But it's built really well. This knife has some solid retention. I mean, it shakes a little bit. It feels like it wants to come out, but then it snaps right back in. It doesn't want to just pop out of the sheath. That's good. You do have a clone of a tech lock. I'm pretty sure. I do not think this is an original, because the fit, the tight and tolerance of this is crap, in my opinion. Like, I don't even know what this is supposed to do. I guess it's like a lock to keep this shut. Well, it's very loose. It can be easily disengaged. And if you notice, it kind of sticks out. That something could catch quite easily onto it, and then you can just open it right up. Now, I don't know if that's proper to the design of an original tech lock. I haven't really paid much attention to these because they are everywhere, and honestly, they're just a good, whether it's a clone or an original, it's a good clip. Now, you can tell I have it offset. Instead of stacking this directly on top, making it quite smaller, I have it off-center. That is due to how I like to carry this. It's a pretty tall karambit, and I tried carrying this two ways. I did try carrying it horizontally, and I felt it just didn't fit right, and I also tried carrying it centered, and it just got in the way and dug into my side. I will admit, I have a bit of a beer gut. Living here in Texas for almost 4 years, I have developed one. A lot of Texas barbecue and a lot of beer. I've been going to many, many breweries. Whew, I gotta get back into the gym. But I have found it is just more comfortable for me. It's not digging into my side as much, carrying it off center. So, let's get into the blade. Now, this blade is 4 inches from the tip, the very tip, to the top portion of the handle right here. From the very top of the handle to the tip, you're looking at 4 inches. Just shy of 4 inches, I should say. It's a tad over, but it's very, very close to 4 inches. So, you're also looking at roughly a 3 1/4 inch cutting edge. It's like one little hash mark on a ruler away from being exactly 3 1/4 inches in cutting edge. You got a nice sort of choil here, finger choil. Kind of tight, nice and small here. Some people might not like that, but honestly, the way it's designed, if you want to hold it this way, it fits perfectly. Now you put your pinky through the ring like you're supposed to. No hot spots, very comfortable. And I actually prefer karambits to have this sort of Wharncliffe, like, reverse Tonto style blade, similar to that of like a hawkbill blade, because the tip, okay, when you go to hold onto this knife and you go to punch with it, that tip is going to make contact every single time. It is going to do what it's supposed to and penetrate beautifully. And then, of course, you are looking at a gorgeous D2 blade with very, very high flat ground. It looks like it could be hollow ground, but it is a flat ground blade. It is full tank construction. It is just a solid piece of D2 that has been stonewashed, hardened to a Rockwell hardness of 59 to 60, says it on the Amazon page. G10 handle scales, sculpted, comes with a lanyard ring hole type thing. I honestly don't like this at all. I mean, it's in a position to comfortably put your thumb, but, you know, if you were to strike someone with, like, coming back, like you're going to strike them up beside the head with like a hammer strike, but instead of reversing and, you know, hitting them with the bottom side of your wrist, you're going to hit them with your thumb side and just strike them in the temple. That would make contact. If you were to do something that would be an impact device on the ring other than the ring itself, I would want it to protrude a little more forward, a little more direct, and in line with the knuckle of your finger here. If it was like more over here, then that way it would be a little more proper. But, you know, this design is actually a copy. When I first saw this knife, I thought it was actually quite cool. I didn't think it was original per se, but I didn't think it was a 100% copy. A long, long time ago, when I would scour the internet just looking at blades for no apparent reason, even ones I couldn't afford, I came across a knife company called Quartermaster. They had a fixed blade karambit, and this was on Blade HQ. It was like 200, 300 something, somewhere in that price range. Definitely couldn't afford it at the time. And this is an exact copy. I mean, I went back the day I purchased this, took some screenshots, blew them up, and saw that all the sculpting on the handle scales is exact. Some of the measurements are off, but basically all of the sculpting is pretty much exact, dead on. The blade shape is dead on. It is that sort of tactical and sharp design where they have a lot of flat, straight, a lot of rounded corners, but flats and straight lines in their blades, which end up actually being quite comfortable. So, there's a bit of the rundown of the blade. Let's compare it to the fixed blade karambit I was carrying before. Now, this is a karambit called from a company called Morsa. It is a Kazutoshi karambit. Guess that is the designer of it. It is D2 steel as well, but this karambit has the form factor of a more stealthy and smaller karambit that would be proper to the martial arts than what you see before you. Alright, so pull that aside. Here's the karambit. Now, right off the bat, I don't know why they put so many holes through here, but you can notice they definitely grinded off a lot of meat here and left a lot of meat here. I don't know if that's just for impact purposes. I would assume so, because you definitely will have a lot more striking points with a little more meat here instead of having such thin meat here, which, you know, eventually you could end up hitting your hand. I don't know. Don't know the design purpose behind it. Also, this blade is thick, and I mean thick. Look at that spine. Now, you notice they do round off the corners towards the tip, and this thing is actually needle sharp, but it's flat ground. So it does have this convex edge that brings it to actually being a very sharp knife. It slashes beautifully, but it's just a thick blade. It surprisingly slashes well, but this knife is more of a pig sticker. I mean, it just wants to thrust, and it's going to leave a pretty nasty triangular shaped wound inside of a person's body. But the thing with this knife is it sits comfortably on my belt. And the way I carry it is I carry it inside the belt band instead of on the outside. So instead of running the belt through it where you will not see the belt come over the knife, I carry it this way, you know, the proper way. That way I can get to the karambit and get into the proper karambit grip. And so I carry it with the belt running through, and you would see the belt kind of, basically my belt covers up almost the entire sheath. I mean, this sheath is small. Now, it claims to be Kydex, and that's where I'm confused. This claims to be Kydex, but it feels so much more plasticky and rigid compared to the Canku, which just, it has like a whole different texture. Now, this also could be because this one is a lot wider. It's more susceptible to flex, more acceptable to flex. Yeah, and this one being thinner is more rigid, but that to me is a downside of this knife because, and headphone users beware. See that? It took like 2 or 3 firm, hard shakes, and this knife just pops right out of its sheath. Now, that is from countless taking it in and out, utilizing it. It loosened up over time. I've tried to tighten it down as much as I could, but it really, the screw is not in the proper position. It's kind of too far from the blade, and it's set too low, so it doesn't give enough retention to keeping it in. This means if you catch this ring on anything, you could potentially pull the knife out of its sheath. But taking a look and comparing the two blades, right? The Canku practically can eat and just wrap around the Morsaw. It has a handle that is just a tad bit wider. Your hand doesn't feel cramped when you're getting a grip. Another thing to point out, proper karambits, a proper grip. You utilize the ring always. You put your index finger through the ring and you line up your knuckle with the ring. And then you wrap your 3 fingers. And you try to align the blade with your knuckles as much as you can. You don't want to try to give it like this hammer style grip because, well, that's not the way I was taught, not the way I was shown. And I don't remember the reason specifically why off the top of my head. With this one, however, as you can see, it's a little tighter. On the Canku, I could wrap 4 fingers around, and my finger is not resting on the blade. So this one, you really only have enough room for 3 fingers and no adjustment whatsoever. But it's comfortable. It's actually the most comfortable karambit with no hot spots that I own. But the sheath is the downfall. So, showing you those 2 karambits, also seeing how much of handle is going to be exposed, plus the way that both of these are set on the belt, you can definitely tell right off the bat that the Canku knife is going to sit higher, even if you have the belt setting right. If you put your belt on top of this little support bar instead of below it, trying to bring this as far down as you can, it's still going to stick up farther and stick out, imprinting more than the Morsaw karambit. And for some people who might have a bit of a belly like I do, that will be uncomfortable to you, and I would recommend you off-center the clip. That way it conforms a little easier. So, to answer the questions, right? Is it worth $30? I think it's worth more than that. I mean, D2 steel, when done right, and when the edge is done properly, it's sharp, it's reliable, and it lasts a while. It's tool steel. It's a good steel. The shape is very, very attractive looking. I like the usage of rounded off corners and flats and like straight angles to give you the illusion of something that seems very futuristic and very rigid, but actually is very comfortable. Quartermaster did a great job. The company that stole that design and produced this cheap budget clone replicated it very well. Alright, this video is getting kind of long. So, second question. My opinion. Actually, no, I'm going to save that one for third. Third question. Is it comfortable? Somewhat. I think it does depend on how you carry it. It does imprint just a bit. I think it is comfortable to carry it once you configure it to your liking. Excuse me. When you configure it to your liking. Third question, my opinion. This is a really solid buy. If you're looking for a last-ditch self-defense type knife, because that is what this is for. Both of these knives you see. Now, this one right here, okay, the Morsaw, was $50. And you are getting a more concealable, sort of more secret knife, but you're losing a lot of blade length, and in my opinion, a Karambit that has a longer blade and a bit more lends itself to be better for controlling and grappling moves, whereas this one lends itself to being better for just landing as many blows, thrusts, and slashes as possible. So, is it worth $30? Yes. Is it comfortable? Yes. Is this a good self-defense knife? In my opinion, yes. I recommend you guys check it out. Canku is just one of the many cheap Chinese companies that are reproducing, or mass producing, I should say. They probably share the same manufacturing plant, but under different names, because there is another Karambit that is this Quartermaster clone under another company's name. Amazon has a bunch of them. You will find a lot of Karambits under Cancun. I mean, not Cancun, but Canku has a shit ton of Karambits. Go check them out. You're looking for a budget Karambit, something you want specifically to carry as a self-defense knife, and you would like to learn and practice slashing techniques and stuff with a Karambit, I would recommend it. However, they do not have any training Karambits, so do not practice on a person. I don't really have any friends that I can trust to cooperate, and I don't really have any friends that have any martial experience, so even using a training knife on them could go wrong. So I buy the real thing and I just practice in front of a mirror and basically shadow box. That's what I do. But it's a great knife. Alright guys, again, Happy New Year. Hope you're all doing well. Peace.